Everybody, welcome back to Wicked Good Sports. I'm your host, Brian, and I'm joined by Jenny Lally to talk a little bit more about the women's national team. Olympic, I guess saga, would that be a good word
Sure,
for it?
totally.
They're what they're doing so far in Tokyo. Last episode, not so great. This episode, a little bit better. Jenny, how'd they do against New Zealand?
So happy I finally got to talk about something positive. So, obviously, we lost to Sweden 3-0, which
Yes.
was a little heartbreaking for all the U.S.
Sucked.
fans.
It was a bad way to start the Olympics. You know, we've spent a lot of time, you and I, watching the team getting pumped and to get goose egged and just being
hurt the
pretty
soul.
handily. Not great, but it seems they came out and get a little bit of revenge in this game.
Yes, so we did win against New Zealand, which was much needed, obviously, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But final score was 6-1, so that has put us in a really great position right now. The current standings in Group G is obviously Sweden is top. They did win against Australia, although Australia did hold their own, which makes me a little nervous for our next game against them. But they still ended up losing. So Sweden is obviously first place with 6 points in total, 3 per game they won. We are now, thankfully, from last place to second, tied technically with points with Australia because we have both won and lost a game. But because we have scored more goals and also taking into account the goals scored against us, we have a higher goal differential. So we're at +2 and Australia is -1. So that really puts us in a great position for our next game, which we can talk about more in a second. And then obviously New Zealand is in last place because they've lost both of their games, so they have no points and -6 goal differential, which
Tough for New Zealand there.
Yes. Yeah.
Is what it is. Can't feel bad for them.
No, I mean, we needed this game, right? Because as a reminder, the top 2 games based off of points will advance. And then the top 2 third place teams across all of the groups will also advance. And in the event of tie, goal differentials are used. And so we really need to win against New Zealand because Australia had already won their first game. And in order to put us in a good position to even be able to make it into the next quarterfinals, we not only needed to beat New Zealand, but we also need to score a lot of goals so that if we end up tying Australia in our next game, we could still advance based off of goal differentials.
Right.
So obviously it was a lot of pressure, and I'm happy to say, obviously, not only did we win, but we also scored 6 goals. We had one scored against us, but that has put us in a really great position that win or lose, or rather win or tie, we'll still be able to advance into the next round. And even if we lose, obviously it depends on the next couple of games across all of the groups. Just based off our current goal differential, we still have a chance to advance as one of the top 2 third place teams. So super relieved that we were able to win this game and win it with a lot of goals.
Yeah. So I guess what most impressed you of those? So there were 4 goals scored
6.
and then 2
own goals. Yes.
So
Yeah.
of the 4 goals that USA scored, what was your takeaways from those?
Yeah, so our first goal was by Lavelle with a pass from Tobin Heath, which, again, I'm so excited to see Tobin Heath back on the field, and she started this game. 9 minutes into the game, we scored, and it was a beautiful pass and a beautiful shot by Lavelle, and her first goal in the Olympics, and our first goal as our U.S. team this year. So it was a really great way to start off the game and kind of set the stage that, no, we're fine, we're going to kick booty,
Yes.
cheeks clapped last game. We will be doing the clap cheaping.
Clap cheaping. The cheek clapping, I believe you were looking for.
The cheek clapping in this next game. And then the next goal, of course, by Haran. And this one's exciting, too. It's her 23rd international goal. But this game was extra special for her because this is her 100th appearance for the national team.
That's cool.
And only a handful of players have ever scored a goal during that game. I think Alex Morgan and Mia Hamm being some of the other ones. So super exciting. It was kind of fun to see on Instagram all the girls on the team celebrating that really awesome achievement. And well-deserved. Horan's been a beast for us through all of our games, not just here in the Olympics. And then Press and Morgan, both of players who did not start in this game, were subbed in, also scored goals. And then, as you mentioned, 2 own goals. So I think out of all of them, Lovel's, I think, was really the critical one there, and also just a beautiful pass and goal in total. But it was just important for us to kind of set the stage of, 9 minutes into the game, like, yeah, we're gonna win.
Things are looking good.
Yeah. And like I mentioned, Morgan and Press didn't start the game. Same with Becky Sauerbrunn and then also Sam Ewis, who, if you're thinking like that's weird because these are some of our like key players, just a reminder, again, like the biggest advantage I think the U.S. team has is just the depth of our team and the fact that no matter who we sub in, they're just going to be just as challenging to play against, just as threatening to score goals or make big plays. And I feel like going into New Zealand, I feel like we felt pretty confident we were going to win. So, we should be saving our players' strength and knowing that probably Australia's game is going to be tougher and really critical. Why don't we use the fact that we have this depth and put some other players in who also performed incredibly well. So I think when I first saw like Becky Sauerbrunn wasn't on, I was like, what is happening?
What's that? Yeah.
Yeah. But then I had to remember like, no, this is actually really good. Like, let's save her for the next game. And obviously, the players that were on our initial lineup were incredible. So
yeah, it's hard to have a bad lineup.
Yeah,
with the talent that you
exactly.
have.
I love every single person on this team. Every time I see someone play, I'm excited. So it's nice to kind of mix it up and be able to see other players have their chance on their Olympic debut. So
right. So obviously, it wasn't all as great as it could have been. There were
my gosh.
4 goals called off. What happened with these goals?
Yeah. So in the first half, 4 of our goals were called offsides. One of them, I think, maybe could have been okay. I think it was by Horan. But they did end up reviewing the game footage to make a different decision. Sad, but fine. Fine. Yeah, I think obviously we won this game and we performed a lot better than how, we did in the Sweden game. But I think, there were definitely still opportunities to improve. And one of them, I think, is maybe a little bit of our patience, perhaps, in the front line. I think we were really aggressive. We knew that we can get these goals. Every play we had an opportunity, it felt. And I think there just needed to be a little bit of patience in terms of making those really awesome runs that all those 4 goals had. But, we just needed to kind of pace ourselves a little bit more and make sure we didn't get those offsides. So I think that's definitely going to be something they'll be focused on into their next Australia game where, we really want to win that and secure our guaranteed spot into the quarterfinals. We need to make sure that we're onside and making all those goals. So that was a little hard to watch, especially because, like I said, this game was important not only for us to win, but also our goal differential in case we tie Australia. We needed all those goals.
Yeah.
So it could have been amazing if we were, 10-1.
Right. Yeah.
But obviously those goals should not count because we were offside. So that was definitely a little frustrating to see. And, as we've talked about, New Zealand did score a goal, but they did have another opportunity in the first half by Wilkinson. We kind of she created kind of her own opportunity in the first half, got behind our defensive line, and just missed the goal. And then obviously they did score another goal, or actually scored a goal later on. I think there were definitely some mistakes in our defensive line, where, players kind of got behind our line, or I think one of us fell and created that goal opportunity. So I think there will also be some things to kind of review in terms of what to improve upon for our next game. But, I think that at this point it's getting a little nitpicky. I think overall we played a fantastic game. The pace, we were not as sluggish as we were in our Sweden game. We were actually, really making some plays, felt more in control overall. So I think it was a great game to see and definitely more of a representation of how this team actually plays. And I think some of the feedback that they got from their coach was just just be yourself into this next game. There's no reason to dwell on the Sweden game. Sometimes you just have a bad game.
Right.
We are a good team. We've proven this time and time again. Just play like we normally play. And that's certainly what they did against New Zealand and won. And I think it was obviously a very well-deserved win.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we'll be talking again quite soon.
Yes.
In fact, about the Australian game. Do you have any predictions for it before we sign off?
Yeah, so the next game is, of course, against Australia. It's Tuesday, the 27th. Is that right? What day is it today?
Today is Monday the 26th, so yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Tuesday the 27th.
Oh my God. Time flies, you guys. Yeah, Tuesday 27th at 4 a.m. So very early. I will be watching it later.
Yeah.
Girl needs sleep.
It's less than 12 hours away.
Yes. But like I mentioned, so, Australia did do quite well against New Zealand, or against Sweden, rather, and certainly could have potentially won. And so that's, definitely just an indication that Australia will not be an easy team to play against. We, in our last 3 games, we have won against them, tied, and lost. And each of those games, I think, were pretty close, within like 2 or fewer goals. So I expect this game to be very close. But I do expect us to win. I do think that we're just overall a better team, and I think we still have something to prove from that first game. I think, for people who don't necessarily follow U.S. women's soccer, I think they see that as like, oh, so we aren't as good as they say they are. But it's like, we are, There's a reason why we're the number 1 ranked team in the world and won the World Cup previously. But I think, the players want to dominate, it's not just simply to win, we want to dominate. And so I think that mentality will certainly continue into our next game. So I expect us to win, but I expect it to be close, which always makes it exciting. But as a reminder, again, even if we tie or win, we will be advancing on to the quarterfinals. And if we lose, we still have a chance to progress depending on how all the groups do based off of points and goal differentials. So there's still certainly an opportunity that we would progress as one of the 2 top 3rd place teams.
Right. Well, that's good.
Yes. I mean, I cannot stress how important this New Zealand game was. I think even if going into it, we're like, yeah, it's going to be easy. Like, New Zealand's like 22nd overall. I think we were going to like cream them, but it was like more than that. We needed to win and dominate. And so...
Right, and they did.
Yes, thank gosh. Such a relief. And it was a great game to watch. So I expect that to continue on throughout the rest of the games.
Right. Anything else?
No, nothing really. I think I've just been enjoying seeing these girls play and getting to see all of the girls subs on the bench on the opportunity to play. We've had some, Olympic debuts on the team, which has been really exciting. So, yeah, I'm just enjoying myself. And hopefully when we talk again tomorrow, it'll also be with good news, and we'll then also, of course, let you guys know how the quarterfinals are going to happen, which teams we're going to be playing against, and what it'll look like moving forward. But I'm really hoping for kind of a Sweden versus USA in the finals, kind of get some redemption, and I think that would be just like an incredible overall story of the Olympics. Yeah, so while I think that would be super hard, and Sweden definitely could kick our booties again, I think that would just be super exciting. So that's what I'm rooting for, and yeah, just enjoying all the games so far.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. No social media to plug, right?
Nah, living on a rock.
And I will plug all of ours, the 3 YouTube channels. This one, Wicked Good Sports. Main one, Wicked Good Everything. And our podcast, Better Radio. And then you can follow the channels on Twitter at WG Everything or at Wicked Good Sports, because I couldn't get sports. Someone else said that and doesn't use it. So, hey, if that person wants to give us the account, that'd be great. You can follow us on Instagram at Wicked Good Everything, on Twitch at twitch.tv/WickedGoodEverything, and on TikTok, just search Wicked Good Everything. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.